Welcome back to Sportsline here on AM 650 WRPT. George Kane with Robert Burnett and Chris Towns.
You had to look at me to say my name. What was that about?
I'm trying to get on camera. This is like this is like Howard Stern show, Towns, except there's no naked broads there, naked chicks. Not very funny. Well, we're fastly approaching the end of the basketball season. I thought it was a pretty fast season as opposed to the long, droning seasons as the Celtics we saw what draft position they were going to have. We had a good season, I think, so far with the Celtics. I think they've gone above expectations. But
they've hit the wall.
Yeah, they've hit the wall, I think, at this point. What do you think some of the problems are, Townsy?
It looks like, I hate to say it, but it kind of looks like some guys have maybe thrown in the towel. You lost Kenny Anderson for a little bit and a couple other injuries, and guys just didn't look like they were playing as hard as they had been in the beginning of the year.
That's the thing. I think you lost Kenny Anderson at the wrong time, right when they wanted to make a playoff push, maybe.
And at that point, too, they were playing pretty well when he first got over here.
Right.
I still think the Celtics' big problem is they're not up to the level where they can play well against the big teams. Like they went into Miami the other night and they got crushed, and they really can't play a good physical game yet. I think
they really look worn down.
Exactly. I think that pressing style of Rick Pitino, the theory was that this would give late in the season teams would be tired and they would have trouble against it, but I think it's worked the other way. The Celtics are a young team and they're the ones that are tired. Some of these guys like Ron Mercer, I mean, he's playing an 82-game schedule now. This is something he's not ever done in his career coming out of college. So, that's one of the factors working against him. I think, Kenny Anderson hasn't been a regular in the lineup. That knee is a big question because there's two things. One is the knee. Is this a degenerative problem with his knee, or is it the other scenario which is what Pitino says, is he's not used to the fast-paced pressing style?
I would opt for that because he hasn't had injury problems before, as far as I know. So I mean, he had a great season last season.
Well, I mean, how much would a pressing style affect your knee? I mean, it's basketball. You're running anyways. I mean, I don't know how much of a difference that would make.
It was good to. I was reading in the Globe also today that Chauncey Billups had a lot of nice things to say about Rick Pitino.
What did he say?
Well, he basically said that Toronto's a joke, that they don't work hard in practice.
They don't. When they said that one of their practices, which is one of the hardest practices they had all year in Toronto, he said wasn't even measuring up to one of Rick Pitino's shoot-arounds.
Talk about disbanding teens, Townsy. That's what you should disband right there in Toronto.
And Oliver Miller.
Old fan Marcus Camby's there, 7 feet with his 5.5 rebound per game average.
That's what the Celtics need.
They don't need Marcus Camby.
He can run the floor just like they're perfect for their style.
He'd be just like Travis Knight.
No, he'd be better than Travis.
Actually, Camby's up this year at the end of the year, right? His contract?
This is his second, isn't it?
Is this his second year?
I think it's his second year, yeah.
I wonder if he would ever end up in New Jersey with old friend John Calipari. He can get all the corruption together in one team.
Definitely.
Calipari said he would like to go for him.
He definitely has another year, though.
Yeah.
But it was good of Chauncey to say that. I guess he's very good friends still with Ron Mercer, and very, very rarely in the last few years have we seen someone leave Boston and actually look back and say nice things. Usually it's the other way around. And so the NBA playoffs are fastly approaching. It's pretty much teams jockeying for positions. In the Eastern Conference, basically, it's pretty much set up to Townsy 1 and 2. It's going to be Chicago and then Miami. Looks like.
I honestly think that this is from the bottom of my heart. I think that the Bulls will have a very, very tough time winning the championship. I think they'll get there, but Utah probably or Seattle, I think is strong enough to take them this year. Even the Lakers. I think the Bulls are very vulnerable this year.
Well, Luke Longley's is going to be out for the rest of the season. They're going to rest him and rest his. I think it's his knee. And, he's not a big scorer, but he's been a very important part of that team. I think this will be interesting playoffs. I'm actually looking forward to it because for once the Bulls actually, there's some question. Whereas the last few years, teams had a chance at them, but you kind of knew that the Bulls were going to win. And this year, I think there is some legitimate questions. I think the Western Conference from top to bottom is so strong that, all 4 of those teams I think could legitimately come out. I do think it'll be either Utah or Seattle, but the Lakers have the most talent. I've heard that before, but they do. Top to bottom, they have so much talent. Of course, no one on that team is over 29, as they were saying today on the air. I think Del Harris will be using that at his exit interview.
I think it's fired.
I want to see if Miami can challenge the Bulls to get in there.
Alonzo Mourning, just for whatever reason, cannot play against the Bulls.
is there a team though worse to watch than the Miami Heat? And the bruising ball. It's funny, Pat Riley, who had Showtime in LA and just has a terrible style, 77 to 75 basketball games and so forth. But if they end up playing the Knicks, it could be.
Pat Ewing will definitely be back too. Don't believe for 1 second that he won't be. He'll be back that playoff series.
That thing could be a complete bloodbath. So I actually would like to see that. A couple of my friends in New York are down there would love to see them get another shot at Pat Riley, because there's utter hatred in New York for Pat Riley, because they feel like he just walked away from them when they were a little down, when the team was a little down, and jetted off to Miami in the sun.
I'm kind of interested to see what San Antonio is going to do too in the playoffs.
Yeah, they look like they'll end up playing Phoenix, which I think will be a great series. You have San Antonio with their big men, and
they should have a field day against Phoenix.
Phoenix with their 3-point guard offense. They basically have with 3 small guards, and Danny Ainge has done a great job. In the Eastern Conference, Larry Bird, great season. Is he coach of the year, or is it Jerry Sloan of Utah?
I think it's going to be Larry. He turned a team that really struggled a lot last year, and they're second or third best team in the league right now. She was making faces at the camera. But I mean, and no one thought that he could do it. He may even doubted himself, but I think that he came in there and turned that team around. They're playing really, really well.
No, I disagree. I think Jerry Sloan should get it, because I think Utah's had an exceptional season, as I can't speak. After they didn't have John Stockton for the first month of the season, I think he's done a great job, and they're right neck and neck with Seattle right now, and actually a half game behind for the overall record in the Western Conference, and they still have an outside shot for best record throughout the playoffs. So I think he's done a great job and should get the award. What do you think, Rob?
I think Larry Bird should get it. I agree with Townsy. I think he's done an excellent job with a somewhat mediocre team last year.
Remember though, we got Chris Mullin this year, and
that's the thing.
They didn't have the Duncan Dutchman, Rick Smith last year.
But Utah's also got, you have Karl Malone, one of the best players of all time.
Yeah.
You might lose Stockton, who is another, one of the best players of all time as well. But
Best Bird coming in his first year, I think he's,
Well, he's done a great job. I'm not saying Larry Bird didn't do a great job. I think, Jerry Sloan's been overlooked, and I think he did an excellent job in getting them in the position they are this season. Also, if Denver has to win one more game, Townsy, otherwise they'll tie the Philadelphia 76ers for the worst record in the NBA. And
they went in and
disgusting how bad this team is.
They went in and beat Washington this week, didn't they? They went in.
No, they're actually in the midst of another one of their losing streaks. They have 9 wins. They have they went on a little tear there. I think they won 3 out of 6, but they need to win one more. They're going to tie Philadelphia 76ers of 72 for the worst record in NBA history. So hats off to the Denver Nuggets on a great season. We're going to take a break here at AM 650 WRPT, and we'll come back and wrap up things and have some final thoughts.